Lonely Monk Productions. Welcome to Too Old, Too New, the music discovery podcast that brings you something old, something new, something Nate, something Bruce. I'm Nate Runkle, host of the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast, and with me, as always, is my good friend Bruce Warren from WXPN. The premise of this show is simple. Each week, we bring you two songs apiece. One new song that's been metaphorically spinning our turntable platters, and one old song that we believe still absolutely matters. What's up?
What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Before we record, I just want to double check and make sure you didn't add any journalists to this group, right? We didn't have any extra addition to the signal, right? This is a closed group.
No,
We're a go to record.
We're good. We're good to go. Yeah.
I like this red hat you're wearing there. It kind of it threw me off for a second.
Let me make one thing very, very clear. This is the only red hat that matters. All right. It was a nice little promo item I got from Interscope Records a handful of years ago, and it's one of my favorite hats. So, although I will say, and I don't have it here in this room I'm in, but at XPN this year, as some of you may know, I've begun sort of this phased out retirement period, and as one of our membership thank you gifts this year, the membership department. Because they know I love red hats, particularly ones that say Interscope Records. And I have another one that's sort of pinkish red that I wear pretty regularly. They made a red hat in my honor. It says WXPN, and I actually signed it. So there's like a little stitching of my name, of my handwritten signature in the hat. It's very, very subtle. Unless somebody goes, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? It's my signature. So if you see anybody wearing a WXPN red wool cap and it looks a little weird, like where it says WXPN, that's because my signature's on it. But that's cool, right?
That's a beautiful thing. I love that a lot. I got to track one of those down. How do I got to do that? What I got to up my donation? What are we going to do?
You know what? I got you covered. Don't worry.
Good. I like that.
Yeah.
No, the
I've
perks,
I've been given a small amount for promotional purposes, and I got one with your name on it right when we're done.
I love it. And you know what? We'll do a hat swap because I just realized that I'm down to 4 of the last Yo, That's My Jawn hats, 2 red, 2 yellow. And if you love red hats, I'll get you a Yo, That's My Jawn hat.
So listen, I got to tell you, I'll be honest with you. I cannot wear baseball caps.
No? Okay.
No.
Well, you can still have it. I'll sign it.
You know, my kids are now in their 20s, but like when they were like 7 or 8 years old, I put a baseball cap on and they were like, you shouldn't wear baseball caps. You look like you're dying of fucking cancer. They didn't use the F word. And ever since then, I stopped wearing baseball caps because whatever, you know.
I get it.
Okay. You know, kids say the darndest things, right?
The truth tellers of children, aren't they? All right. So we got some great songs for you. I'll go first this week. I'm going to start with my new pick.
Yeah.
And this is one of the rare things that occurs occasionally, which is I don't really have much to say about anything other than I fucking love this song. That's
good enough. That's good enough sometimes.
Right?
Nick. Right.
I have probably listened to this song this is one of those songs that the first time I heard it, I immediately stopped it and played it again. I've listened to it countless times. It's probably my favorite song so far this year. There's just something about it that just hits so goddamn hard. And the song that I'm talking about is a new one from Jesse Reyes, and it's called Psilocybin and Daisies. And I'm just going to play a clip here before I get into it.
I've been told that when I love, I'm like a tyrant, but when I got you close, well, you soothe the beast inside me, and we could talk, but why waste all that energy? Cause tomorrow's just this moment's enemy. So let me fuck you in a field full of daisies till we both run dry. I wanna love you to death. I wanna love you to death. Let me fuck you in a field full of daisies till we both run dry. I wanna love you to death.
The first time I heard it, the Smashing Pumpkin riff started, and I was like, oh, that's what we're doing now? That's what we're doing in pop songs? And then she started singing, and I was like, all right, no, this is kind of a vibe. And then by the time it hit the chorus, I was sold. I was absolutely sold. It feels like good, like early No Doubt to me. Like it just has that kind of like
Interesting.
that driving kind of like I can picture this on a festival stage, something fierce. It feels like summer, and the album that it's on, Paid in Memories, comes out this Friday, and I'm super excited to see what else she has. She's got a lot of great guests on the album: Lil Wayne, Big Sean, Sam Smith, some heavy hitters on there. So
Wow.
super excited to see what Jesse Reyes has to bring.
I'm listening. I'm looking forward to hearing it. That's what I've heard. I really dug. That's very cool. It had a Lola Young, messy vibe to it. I don't
Yes.
know if you're familiar with Lola's record, but hey man, good. And you know what? It's okay to just like a song because it's a good fucking song, right?
Right?
And I had talk about listening to songs over on repeat, and this is not one of my new ones, but there's an MJ Lenderman covered a This Is Lorelei song called Dancing in the Club, and he puts his own spin on it. And I listened to it. I went to the gym yesterday. I went for a walk afterwards, and I was probably like 20 minutes into the walk, and I realized I had listened to the MJ's song like probably about 10 times, maybe, maybe 8 times. And it's just, it's okay. It's good.
It's amazing when a song overtakes you and you're just in it,
Right?
like that's the best. And I love that feeling. So
That's
I
what
hope-
we do
I
this
hope-
for.
That's exactly right.
We're fans of music, you think about all the songs that you go next, 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 and then, when it hits, it hits you right. And that's a
Hell
good
yeah.
thing.
I dig it.
good
What do you got this week?
Well, I got actually an album that I had on repeat, not by accident. I was doing some work the other night. I hadn't yet listened to the Saba album. And it's a collaborative album, Saba and No ID. It's called From the Private Collection of Saba and No ID. And I've been hearing great things about it. I'm a big fan of Saba. I'm a big fan of No ID's work. I put it on, and literally I listened to the album 3 times in a row. It's just an unbelievably great record. It's Saba's the rapper from Chicago, No ID. Ernest Dion Wilson is a producer, music exec from Chicago, has been behind behind the boards for so many incredible records, records by Vince Staples and Jay-Z, and for many years has been an important name in hip hop. And he's also done some incredible work with a famous rapper whose name I will not mention anymore. That being said, this record is an unbelievably gloriously fun record. Fun, musically fun. Because lyrically there's some pretty intense stories on it. But it is samples galore on this album. And, they kind of they tap into different areas of hip hop and neo soul. And it's just like one of the most fluid sounding hip hop records I've heard in a really long time. And the samples are just glorious, right? They're just absolutely fantastic. So I think we want to do the first song on the record, which has a very long title and whose name is escaping me. But let's play it, and then I'll remember the title.
Some of them bitches thrifted. My main mission was simple, be listened to. Try to dig deeper like it's in an interview. I guess I never took the proper time to introduce myself to the many fans and the kindred souls that resonated with a kid who is the fly ghetto and path, anxious poets in bright yellow my bag, or without speaking I'm like anti-social means outspoken. She said that's who helped me more than you know, cause I was on the verge of a manic episode. I heard I out the best I could, but yo, it's crazy how many stories people claim that you're voicing.
So that song's called "Every Painting Has a Price." It features BJ, BJ, the Chicago Kid, and a singer. Also, I think they're from Chicago, Erin Allen Kane. That song really sets the tone of the record. It's a totally vibed out, very cool record. Raphael Sadiq's on the record. Madison McFerrin is on the record. The sister duo Ibeyi, I think that's how you pronounce it, are on the album. And it's No ID and Saba, and it's just a great record. So there you go.
It's killer. I haven't heard the album yet, and I literally moved it up in the queue as I was making the clip today because this is exactly my vibe. This is exactly what I want out of hip hop. I like a loungy kind of soul sample. You know, is a perfect thing in there. And like that's what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? Like I love hip hop. To me, has to feel like a hang. Like it has to feel like, you know, a bunch of people sitting around kind of flexing their vocal chops. You know, that's where I'm at, which is a perfect segue for my own pick. Do you see where I'm
exactly.
going with
But
this?
I will tell you, I love that line. Hip hop has to be a hang. That's cool. I like
Right?
that.
I
Yeah.
feel it. I definitely feel it. So my old pick comes from the 90s, and it comes from here in beautiful, sunny, always Philadelphia. And this is a track by The Goats. For those of you unfamiliar, the Goats were a hip hop group in the early 90s here in Philadelphia. They are kind of known as the first band, or the first hip hop group to use live instrumentation, which I don't think is true. I think there's others, but they were the first to kind of popularize live instrumentation to the point where they asked a young group that also had live instrumentation to warm up for them once as they were moving on, and that group was called The Roots. The Roots
right.
got their start, their very first live show opening for the Goats. This song is from their second album. This is from No Goats, No Glory, the follow-up to Tricks of the Shade. And this is the opening track. This is Wake and Bake.
Split up the day is the best one. I rise with the sun and I don't mean just wake up. I get baked till my eyes get caked up. Right through the weed just like it was grass. Break me off a nice big piece of black hash. Reach for the stash cause you know what I want. A supercalifragilistic stupid fat blunt. Early in the morning, right before breakfast. Smokers fat split for the Buddha blessed it. It's the best thing to happen since Frosted Flakes 976 called Wake and Bake. Late to bed means late to rise. It's the wake and bake, baby, when I open my eyes. Late to bed.
The Goats in that live band featured, we've talked about the gentleman numerous times on here, Chuck Treese, and it also featured playing bass on that, E.J. Simpson. I got to talk to E.J. Simpson a year or so ago on the podcast, and he told me that the Goats had actually reunited, trying to do a reunion maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, and they did some rehearsals, and then it fizzled apart.
Yeah.
But
well, you know, first of all, second album, not as good as the first.
no,
Sure. But
Definitely
that's
true.
the best track. That's the best track on the record. There's no doubt about it. So back in the day, it was like 91 or 92. I was covering local music I was here at XPN, but I was also writing about local music for, you know, one of the weeklies here, City Paper or whatever the fuck it was. But anyway, I became really tight with those guys. And in fact, humble brag here, I wrote the bio for their first album, and in which I've been told that I coined the phrase hip opera because
Hey.
the first album really was a sort of concept album, you know. But, you know, Odie and Swayzak and Max, all those guys, EJ and Chuck and Mark Boyce, we used to hang in their apartment downtown, and I was in a bunch of sessions for that first album when they were in the studio with Joe the Butcher, right? And it was just magical. It was a magical time in Philly hip hop. You know, Rough House Records was just coming about, and there was just so much great shit going on, and it brings back great memories. You know, Beanie and the Fugees, and man, King Britt was part of the scene down there. Schoolie, of course, and you know, and it was 2 years into what was a very early time for Rough House Records here, you know, and the Goats were fucking unbelievably great. So, and apparently, I think I heard there's 2 new songs. I think there's 2 new songs out by the Goats. It's just the 2 guys who were in, you know, apparently Odie, who's not involved with the band anymore, lives in Boston, but Swayzak and Max, Mad, is still, you know, they're still going at it, man, and it's beautiful. I love it. So good choice.
So,
choice.
total confession. The
Yeah.
reason I picked that twofold was Nick Hexum mentioned them when I chatted with him on the podcast this week, and it made me realize that to me, I can tell if someone's cool as fuck if they know if when I talk about being from Philly, they mention the goats.
Yeah.
So like it's almost like a calling card. Like it's like, oh, you mentioned the goats? Okay, cool. You're fucking in. I mentioned them actually in the theme song to in the lyrics to the theme song of Yo, That's My Jawn. But whatever,
Yeah.
no big deal. But two, and this is what I have to confess. The reason I picked this song, and well, not this song, but the goats in general, is because I knew that I could just put a battery in your back and let you go.
Oh,
I
okay.
knew you
Thank
had,
you.
I knew
Thank
you
you.
had, I knew you had a story on deck, and I was just like,
I
oh,
got
let's
some
get him going.
history. I probably saw the Goats every show they played. And in fact, you know what's really interesting? They put out a live album last year that's on the Spotify, that's on all the streaming services. And I was at that show, and I remember I had a cassette of the record. Of the live recording, because the same guy who records our festival, Mike, that's his name, Mike, he recorded that show at the Khyber Pass. And I was there, and I was like, dude, you got to slip me a copy of this. It was like the greatest performance. And yeah, they put on some unbelievable shows. Michael
That is
Comstock.
awesome.
Michael Comstock. He's got so much live footage from so many great Philly bands over the years. I gotta, when I see him next, I gotta see what he's got. Would love to do some
Yeah.
shit around that. Good stuff. Good
Here's
stuff.
here's another reason I picked this segue. You mentioned Joe the Butcher, Joe Nicolo. His brother Phil just worked on a vinyl release that's coming out this year that maybe you might want to talk about.
Sure. Thank you. Good that
See
you
what I do?
remembered. Yes. So volume 3 of WXPN's local live vinyl is coming out. It's called Homegrown Vinyl 3. And it's available for free at like 13 or 14 record stores in the Philadelphia, Jersey area on Record Store Day with the purchase. So we're really psyched. It's a limited edition. And we've got Dr. Dogger on it, Florier on it, Mannequin Pussy, Cadre Noir, Khalil Amaru, who was our Song Challenge winner, is on it. Eliza Hardy Jones is on it. I'm leaving out a few folks who I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's going to be great. And in fact, on April when is it? Wednesday,
It's a
April
Wednesday,
the
yeah.
16th, I think.
Sounds
Wednesday, April 16th in Philly at World Cafe Live upstairs. We're doing the second of our free live music concerts. And 3 of the artists on the vinyl collection are going to be performing live. Eliza Hardy Jones is playing, Cadre Noir are playing, and Toby Lehman is going to be here with his trio. So it's going to be a great night. It starts at 7:30. Get all the RSVP. We need you to RSVP up on our website, xpn.org. So there you go.
I immediately jumped on those tickets.
Yeah,
because
good.
that's gonna be a good one. That's a great setup.
Good.
How about your old pick?
So we're going back a little bit farther than 92 or 91, and we're going back to 61 for a song. And I got to give a shout out to my main man, Zach, who pointed this out to me. He texted me a link to a YouTube video of a song by an R&B guitarist from Lafayette, Louisiana, named Bobby Parker. Now, not to be confused with Robert Parker, who was like, they had that one-hit wonder, Barefootin'. But Bobby Parker was a dude who had a song called Watch Your Step. And I'm going to ask you to play it first, because I want you, Nate, but you, the millions of our fans out there who are listening right now, to pay close attention to the guitar riff. And I'll talk about that after that. So hit it. Okay, Nate, what do you hear?
The Allman Brothers.
What else do you hear?
What a little cream, a little cream in there.
For sure. I'll tell you this. It was an inspiration for 2 Beatles songs, I Feel Fine and Day Tripper.
Oh, yes.
It was an inspiration for Over, Under, Sideways, Down by the Yardbirds. It was an inspiration for Ray Charles's What I Say. It was an inspiration for Moby Dick by Zepp. And, I could probably go on and on and on and on and on. Really, though, when I played it for a few folks, the first reaction was, oh, my God, the fucking Beatles ripped this guy off. It's like, so, and yeah, Bobby Parker was ripped off a lot during his lifetime. And sadly, as many artists have been over time, including today. But Bobby put out a bunch of singles. Actually did put a couple albums out later in his career. He died in the mid-aughts, unfortunately. But great little tune there called Watch Your Step. Hot Step. Highly recommend for any awesome party mixtape that you're putting together. So that's my old this week. There you go.
That's amazing. See, like this is one of the things that I feel like deserves. These are the kind of things that was like one of the things I thought about when I thought about this show, was kind of exposing people to like the songs that fly under the cracks, the influences and all of the things that people overlook. And it's like, we champion all of these other people who made great music, but what were their influences? Paul McCartney is releasing a book about Wings. And I got a press release for it, and I sent the publicist a message back, and I went, "Look, man, I know the answer to this, but I'm just going to say it. Does Paul want to come on the podcast?" And he was like, "Yeah, no, I mean, he's not going to do that." But because I said to somebody that I only have one question I ever want to ask Paul McCartney, and that is, every single person refers to him. Or refers to the Beatles as the people who changed music and their greatest inspiration and stuff like that. And my question is, have you ever heard a song that made you go, well, maybe we shouldn't have made music?
Interesting. That's a great question.
Because if everything is derived from you, do you feel a responsibility for everything that comes after you? So, and like for him, like, don't you think you would want to be like, hey, you like me? Go listen to Bobby Parker. You know what I mean? Like those kind of things. Like pay it forward. Expose your influences.
Yeah, good, very good point. Very good points. Very good points. Well, good job, sir.
Yeah, man. All of these songs, of course, will appear on our Spotify playlist, which you can find linked in the show notes here. You can find Bruce at Some Velvet Blog. You can find me at That's My Jawn on the socials. Follow us on Substack if you're not watching this on Substack, or go watch it on Substack. One or the other. You, of course, can hear Bruce every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on WXPN right here, 88.5 in beautiful sunny Philadelphia. Which I got to say, you were true to your word. And you totally played the Black Kids on Saturday. I
did. I told you. I told you I was going to do that, man. When I remember shit, I'm good to my word.
And then every other Monday, you can hear me on Why Not Radio. Not on next Monday, but the Monday after, the 7th of April. That's the day. Yeah, 7th of April. And then, of course, the That's My Jawn podcast. I'm burning through. I think I am up to my second to last interview of weekly episodes.
Okay.
And that will be an incredible conversation with Art Deco. I'm excited for that one. The one that's out right now is, like I said, Nick Hexum with 311. You can go find that anywhere you get podcasts. Wherever you got this podcast, go just click over. You can hear that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's what we got for you this week. Thanks, folks, for listening. And Bruce, thanks for doing this as always.
Right on, brother. See ya.
Too Old, Too New with Nate and Bruce is a Lonely Monk production, produced and hosted by Nate Runkle and Bruce Warren. Please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show on your podcast provider of choice. If you have any music you think we should hear, or if you would just like to reach out to us, please feel free to email us at 2old2newmusicpod@gmail.com. And as always, thanks, and we will catch you next time.